What's going on, cultivators? Today I'm here to talk about why do I feel qualified to have this blog or this writing or what have you, or to be a writer, to be a person. Sometimes that comes up. It's like, what credentials do you have? I think that one of the things that's interesting about storytelling is a person can be very credentialed, right? And a person can have no credentials. And I think that you still can tell a good story. So let's start there. I don't think you necessarily need credentials, but I think that they can sometimes be helpful when it comes to the storytelling, to writing, to blogging, etc. But let's just start with anybody. I believe could have a good blog and communicate some useful information. So that's A. But I would say that this blog, coming from the posture of a learner, right? And so I'm not coming from the posture of trying to be an expert and show you all the different things that I can give you. And oh man, I have all these degrees, things like that. My degree is in business. I'm a business management major. I'm a bivocational minister. I work at this particular time that I'm recording this, I work at a homeless shelter called Oliver Gospel Mission, and it's a type of ministry that has empowered their staff to be able to take on secondary ventures and do other things. And so that's what you kind of see here with Grace to Cultivate LLC. But when it comes to my writing, the things that I would say that give you credentials, and the interesting part about having credentials as a writer, you can't get credentials until you write, right? And so, so it's kind of a catch-22 that, you can't truly be credentialed until people interact with your other writings. And so, one of the, I guess, kind of general ways in which people have interacted with it has been my first book, was called Running After Delano. I got a Kirkus review that is a where you send your manuscript after you have completed it to a business for a fee, and at that fee they give you an objective interaction with your actual writing. They give you an option of, hey, do you want us to post this, not post this, what have you, but they gave a favorable review on it, and that review is actually featured as in one of the top independent writers that was featured in the January 2022 edition of their magazine and their review journal. And in that that is a book that I wrote, historical fiction I wrote on my great uncle who was killed during a lesser known civil rights incident called the Orangeburg Massacre. And so that is, I would say, the my first book. And if anybody wants to go online and check it out, feel free, or even read the Kirkus review, and you can figure that out and see if that is the type of writing that works for you. But more recently, January 14th, or around Martin Luther King Observance Day, I put out my second novel, which is called Rashard Freeman, Teenage Entrepreneur. And in that particular book, it was the number one new release in children's books that focused on jobs and careers. I've had some really good reviews on it so far, about 15 or 16 reviews that have been posted on Amazon, and people all seem to like all 5 stars at this moment, and people seem to think it's pretty good. And so I've heard some good feedback. I think that sometimes people don't observe you as a writer until you are either published by a traditional source, you have a certain type of readership, that sort of thing. But I can't speak to that. I would just say that this process has shown me that there are some benefits to being self-published, to being able to build relationships with schools, to understand the business of the book even before you get published, if you do get published, that sort of thing. And so my hope is that in this particular learners podcast, this learners vlog, that the person who's receiving the content can hear it and respect it, hopefully, based upon what I'm sharing, of what I'm learning. And so as I learn about writing, I'm sharing that with you. And so just a few things to kind of think about what we'll be talking about. This series that you're hearing right now is my story, but after we're done with my story, I'm going to share with you the process. If you are a new person and you're like, oh man, I always wanted to write a book, I have a series that's coming out, how to write and sell your first novel, or how to write and sell a novel in 21 steps is historically what it's been, but how to self-publish, essentially. What does that look like in 21 steps, and breaking it down, everything from believing that you're able to literally structuring the novel, finishing the novel, formatting the novel, and finding different channels, in a lot of cases free channels, to be able to sell it. I think you can put together a novel in today's market in less than maybe $1,000, and this entire brand is being run for under $100, and so a month. And so it's an inexpensive business model. And I also have a vision of like, what does that look like to partner with schools that want authors to come in. And so there's a vision for the entrepreneurial side of turning your passion and your writing into a business that can be sustainable to take care of you and your family. And I think that there's some benefits to that. So why do I feel qualified to share this content with you? I would say I'm qualified in the way that any storyteller or any person who's telling a story can tell something that can be uplifting, that can help people, and in understanding that there truly are no qualifications to be a writer and tell a story. But I do think that I've been affirmed by a few different outside sources that have said that, hey, this writing, we found it to be helpful, good, 5-star worthy, and something that we would feature in a national review magazine, that sort of thing. And so that's on my personal level. But I would like to invite you into this learner's vlog, this learner's podcast, however you want to frame it, vodcast, however you want to frame it. And so, but I'm looking forward to connecting with you, hearing you guys in the comment section. And so my action item for you guys is, what does it take for someone to be a credentialed writer? Like what do you think, if someone were to say they're an author, for you, what does that mean? What does it mean for you when someone says they're an author? Give me some examples of credentials that you have seen, or that you would say this makes someone an actual writer. What credentials does it take for someone to be qualified as a writer? That's the action item for this video. And love to talk with you guys more. And you have a great day. Take it easy.